Magandang tanghali sa Action News Alert. Pumasok na rin ng Marawi ang tropa ng Philippine Marines para dagdagan ang puwersa ng operating troops sa lugar. Umaaksyon mula sa Marawi si Kay Imson. Kay, kumusta ang sitwasyon dyan?
Yes, sa pag-ikot na natin dito sa Marawi City ay nagpistulan ng ghost town itong buong syudad. Wala na halos kaming nakikita mga residente dito. At talagang mas marami yung puwersa ng militar ang nandito ngayon sa lugar. Kanina nga, tulad ng nabanggit mo, ay dumating na rin dito ang tropa ng Philippine Marines galing ng Tawi-Tawi para magdagdag puwersa dun sa operating troops na nandito ngayon sa lugar. Kanina napansin din natin na sunod-sunod yung airstrike na ginagawa ng Philippine Air Force. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, may mga sightings din talaga ng mga kalaban na hanggang ngayon ay nandito pa rin sa lugar. Pabalik tayo para sa karagdagang pambalita mamaya.
Alright, maraming salamat sa iyo, Kay Imson. Ingat kayo dyan. Humingi naman ng dagdag puwersa militar ang lokal na gobyerno ng Davao City sa AFP. Ayon kay Retired General Benito de Leon na pinuno ng Davao City Public Safety Office, nagpasa na ang City Council ng resolusyon na humihingi ng 2 batalyon ng mga sundalo para paigtingin palalo ang seguridad sa syudad. Lalo't itinuturing ito ngayong pangalawang sentro ng bansa dahil Davaoenyo ang kasalukuyang pangulo ng bansa. Kasabay nito, inanunsyo ng Davao City LGU na bukas ang kanilang lungsod para sa mga lumikas na residente mula Marawi City. Nasa 8 oras na biyahe ang layo ng Marawi at Davao. Naibalik na rin ang supply ng kuryente sa halos lahat ng lugar sa Marawi. Ayon sa palasyo, may kuryente na ulit sa 75% ng lungsod. Pinabulaanan din ito ang balitang inatake ng mga terorista ang Lanao del Sur Electric Cooperative o Lasureco. Kaya naman nanawagan ang Malacanang sa publiko na tigilan ang pagpapakalat ng mga maling balita. At para sa iba pang maaksyang balita, tuloy-tuloy lang pang manood sa news5.com.ph. Ako po si Mayan Los Baños. Magandang tanghali po.
Action News Alert!
Problema daw. Problema, walang kaming pagkain.
Tubig.
Walang tubig. Oo, lahat-lahat dito yung mga kuwan. Problema daw. Sana yung tulong ng gobyerno sa amin.
May tao, nakahubad nga.
Yung kan na yun?
O yun.
Armado?
May tao, gumalaw.
Yun yung muna ko. At saka hindi mag-uubot ang sibilyan ngayon dyan. Saan ba na yan? Patayo tayo.
Yun sa taas, yun. Yun.
Kirain mo, Brad, kirain mo. Wala, nagtago na.
Kunin yun. Lakay. Kunin nyo. Tapos na kayo.
Erwin! Sa kanya yan, sir. Tsaka sabi mo, Sting, may extra lakas. Ganun ba? Yan. Sting, may extra lakas.
Welcome to a special edition of the Newsroom. We're still closely watching Marawi City following the declaration of martial law in Mindanao. 4 days after clashes broke out between Maute militants and government forces, the AFP confirms foreign terrorists are aiding the Maute Group. Muslims observe the start of the holy month of Ramadan, and we give you a glimpse at the beauty of Marawi that was once a tranquil sanctuary for many. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Maute Rodriguez. Government troops continue to intensify clearing operations against the Maute Group in Marawi City 4 days after President Rodrigo Duterte declared martial law in Mindanao. Hundreds of residents have evacuated and are staying at the Mindanao State University, located almost 40 kilometers away from Ground Zero. Our George Cahiles reports Marines have been deployed to the area. We will have George Cahiles to report to us on that in a little while. President Duterte comes closer to Ground Zero as he rallies behind soldiers who are trying to flush out terrorists in Marawi City. The president spent his Friday in Iligan City, where hundreds of residents are seeking refuge. He reiterates he will go hard on those sowing terror in the country. Here is the president in his own words.
So you can say that the ISIS is here already. The fact that they were flying the flags, although masabi natin yung iba, damay na lang, maybe disgruntled followers of a politician o yung may galit sa gobyerno. So yan ang problema natin. And you're going to fight. I have to fight every day until this conflict is resolved. I could only pray for you, pray for my policemen that there will be deliverance from harm.
We now speak with AFP spokesman Restituto Padilla for more updates in Marawi. Good morning, Brigadier General Restituto Padilla. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Mai, and thank you for having us.
Sir, are we seeing more or less skirmishes or firefights in Marawi City today?
Well, Mai, hopefully as we get into the interiors of Marawi and secure the areas that have been held up by many of these terrorists previously, we hope to have less of this. You know, the start of the holy month of Ramadan for our Muslim brethren is very important. And we are seeking to secure Marawi at the soonest time possible in order to make way for the return of our residents into the city. And we can only do this if we have the full cooperation of the public, particularly the residents of Marawi and all the local officials as well as the other agencies that are working and helping to make this happen.
Sir, can you confirm if telco signals have been shut down to prevent the Maute Group from communicating with each other?
We mentioned there are attempts to sow more disinformation. These are measures that we have to take, hard as it is, on everybody to ensure that this disinformation is put to an end.
Sir, how many more militants are you pursuing in Marawi City? Do you have a number, sir?
I don't have the exact figure as of the moment, and this matter is something that we are working on. But rest assured that they are getting lesser by the day, and we are moving towards accomplishing our mission of securing every part of the city. This is our commitment to the people of Marawi, and as I mentioned, we need your full cooperation as well as the full cooperation of everyone else who desires to bring back the peace that Marawi was enjoying for a long time.
Any update on the casualties or the injuries in the area as you try to flush out the militants, sir?
The latest figure I have is still as of midnight the other day. I have not received the updates of last night, but from that figure that we mentioned, the number of casualties remain 31 on the side of the enemy. We have 11 on the part of the AFP and 2 from the police, and 39 wounded, many of whom are not life-threatening.
Sir, can you give us an update on, you said yesterday foreign militants are helping the Maute Group in Marawi City. Do you have a confirmation on their identities? You said 6 of them are foreign nationals. How did you confirm their nationalities, sir?
So we qualified yesterday. We were able to get hold of information that showed about a number of those who were killed from the 31 figure I gave you having been named. And among the names that came out, it seems that 5 or 6 of them are foreigners. This is an information that remains unconfirmed up to the moment, and we are taking measures to validate this. Until such time, we cannot categorically say if they were there. However, we have proof based on previous military operations that there have been foreigners involved helping and teaching skills in radicalism and extremism in the accomplishments that we have had previously.
Sir, do you have any update on the hostages, civilians supposedly being held by the militants?
We don't have clear figures as to how many are still being held. We did get line of information that some of them have been released, and we're seeking to validate that while we go into the interiors. For those who may have information regarding this, we highly encourage them to please reach out to our people on the ground in the area of Marawi so that we can validate this as soon as possible and have a clearer picture of the number of hostages still in the hands of these terrorists.
So would you confirm with certainty, sir, that there are indeed hostages? Because ARMM Governor Mujib Hataman yesterday said they have 15 that they have identified or in their list. They have a list of 15 civilians, supposedly with the militants.
We have no confirmation from our end. Our concentration has been on military operations to clear the city, and hence we have not been able to verify number of hostages in the hands of the terrorists. Again, our concentration is to clear the city of these elements, but request the help of our other agencies of government to ascertain that.
So right now, sir, of course, they're trying to take control of Marawi City, and the violence is, for now, isolated in Marawi. Would you confirm that, sir? And how will the government prevent any spillover of this violence to other areas in Mindanao?
The situation in Marawi has been contained. We are very much in control of many parts of the city already and trying to deal with the remnants. There are pockets of resistance, but they are getting lesser by the day. We hope to resolve this as soon as possible. We are trying and working hard to prevent any spillover from any of the elements that are within. But those that are without may continue to create diversionary activities that would drive or seek to drive the forces that are in Marawi. But we will not allow that. We have enough measures on the ground to deal with this.
Sir, we have reports that Marines are being deployed to the Mindanao State University. Can you tell us more about that?
For now, many are operational matters that I am not privy to open up to public. Let us keep it at that at the moment.
Okay, we understand, sir. Thank you for taking our call today. That was AFP spokesperson Restituto Padilla. Marawi residents flee from the firefight in the city and are seeking refuge in nearby city Iligan. Our senior correspondent Ruth Cabal is there. Ruth, how are the evacuees doing? Mayas, the number of evacuees doubled from yesterday. There are now more than 2,700 individuals here in Iligan City. The local government is making sure that terrorists do not sneak in with the innocent civilians from Marawi City. At the checkpoint in Barangay Suarez, PNP and AFP personnel are thoroughly inspecting vehicles. But unlike in the past days, we saw that vehicles counterflowing are now being apprehended and issued violation tickets. Police officers are more thorough in checking and comparing people with file photos of wanted local terrorists. The photos of up to 80 terrorists include several members of the Maute family. According to Iligan City Mayor Celso Regencia, the photos were from government intelligence agencies and were distributed to local law enforcement officers. But the mayor says that so far, they have not arrested any potential suspects except for one, the Marawi City jail inmate identified as Makmak Agwam, who admitted to police he was able to escape when the Maute Group attacked two jails in Marawi City Tuesday. Meanwhile, more than half of the total number of evacuees at 1,300 individuals are here at the Maria Cristina Gym. Welfare officers had to turn down some more families coming in because to prevent overcrowding. They were instructed to transfer to the other evacuation center in Barangay Buruon. By the total number of evacuees are actually more because there are the so-called home-based evacuees. They are from Marawi City, but they have residents here, but they have relatives here in Iligan City, and they are staying with their relatives, but are getting their supplies from the evacuation centers. The welfare officers here say that so far, there are enough supplies and relief goods for the evacuees. Bye.
Ruth, it's day 4 since the violence broke out in Marawi, and as you said, evacuees there have doubled, and presumably more will arrive in the coming days. Are there any concerns that local officials and social workers have raised? Any other concerns aside from the supplies for the evacuees?
So far, there are no serious concerns. We asked them about, possible some of the diseases, possible spread of diseases, but what they noticed were there were just complaints of headaches or cough and colds for the children. Though yesterday we talked to one of the welfare officer, and she was requesting that, if possible, the DSWD could bring in psychologists and psychosocial experts to also help the evacuees deal with possible trauma. Right.
Ruth Cabalder reporting to us live from Iligan City. When a newsroom returns, the armed forces will be exercising the right to censure, even on social media. Amid the crisis in Mindanao, many are asking, will terror reach Metro Manila? Find out what the PNP is saying. Muslims begin a month of prayer and fasting as Ramadan starts. We will be back after a quick break. Stay with CNN Philippines. We're live on Facebook. Good morning to our viewers. Today we have a special edition of the newsroom where we are getting developments from Marawi City. It's day 4 since the clashes broke out between Maute militants and government forces there. And if you remember, last Tuesday, Maute militants attacked the city of Marawi, and they took over several buildings and set fire to several buildings. They also took siege or took control of a hospital there. But in recent days, these establishments, the hospital, for example, has since been taken control by military forces. And today we were talking to AFP spokesperson Restituto Padilla, and he gave us an update. This is a special edition of Newsroom. Welcome back. New information on the crisis in Marawi. Officials say foreign terrorists are helping the Maute Group and that they most likely joined the group in combat. Authorities say the terrorists are from Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. Our senior correspondent, Ina Andolong, tells us more.
So government troops aren't just fighting Filipino extremists in Marawi. Officials who sat in meetings with President Duterte Thursday have confirmed this. The AFP says about 6 terrorists from Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore were killed in the firefight.
It has transmogrified into invasion by foreign terrorists who heeded the clarion call of the ISIS to go to the Philippines if they find difficulty in going to Iraq or Syria.
There are certain foreign elements here who have been in the country for a long time, aiding these terrorists in skills related to terrorism, primarily bomb making.
The AFP spokesman says most enter by sea through the country's still porous borders. It's a problem the government has been struggling to address. Some come in legitimately using different covers. President Duterte himself has often said extremists pretend to be teachers and religious leaders. But officials believe they're actually out to build a network of supporters in the country for the international terrorist group ISIS. Despite the presence of foreign terrorists in the country, the AFP insists the ISIS is not yet in the country. However, countries like the Maute are trying to prove themselves to the international group to gain recognition.
There are footprints, so this is not yet complete. They're trying to complete it and working feverishly to gain those requirements. And we are committed not to allow them or to thwart their attempts.
But ISIS is a looming problem if officials don't act fast. Solicitor General Jose Calida says the group wants to establish an ISIS province in Mindanao. The AFP says it's working with foreign governments to identify their nationals who may be trying to sow terror in the Philippines. The U.S. and Russia have also offered to help in counter-terrorism efforts. From Davao City, Ina Andolong, CNN Philippines.
The Armed Forces plans to censure some information coming from the media. AFP spokesman Restituto Padilla says they're not recommending to suspend freedom of expression, but he says they will merely exercise their right to censure. This covers both mainstream and social media. Security officials want to make sure the spread of information will not put the lives of government troops at risk and endanger national security.
Yung censure duties na ito ay yung nararapat lamang upang mapangalagaan ang buhay ng tao, ang protektahan ng ating mga sundalo at ang national security natin. Kaya kami umaapela kayo na habang maaga pa lang, i-exercise niyo po yung inyong common sense. Na pag alam niyo po na ito ay nakakasama sa karamihan at hindi ho nakakatulong, huwag niyo na hong i-post. Baka minsan na lang katukin na lang po kayo ng pulis at arestuhin kayo.
The Armed Forces says guidelines on how they will exercise their right to censure will be released. Government troops continue to intensify operations against the Maute Group in Marawi City 4 days after President Rodrigo Duterte declared martial law in Mindanao. Our George Cahiles joins us on the line for an update. George, what's the latest there?
Hundreds of soldiers, mostly from the Philippine Marines, have arrived here in Marawi City, reinforcing the troops here fighting the less than 100 combined forces of private armed groups and members of Maute Group. Now, it's the start of the holy month Ramadan, and it's also the 5th day of the crisis here. There's no indicator that the firefight here will end soon. Aerial strikes continue, and gunshots and mortar blasts still fill the air. Now, there are still civilians fleeing. We saw some earlier. In fact, we saw a family who carries a white flag as they walk towards evacuation site inside the provincial capital compound. Now, clearing operations continue, and later on, we will see the situation in the area, and we'll give you further updates on what's happening here in Marawi. Mike.
George, we were just speaking to AFP spokesman Restituto Padilla, and he said the military is now in control of Marawi City, and they're just after the remnants of the Maute Group. Does it look like that, George? What's the situation there on the ground?
Well, with the number of troops that are coming in, Mike, looks like the clearing operations will still last for several more days, because it's the terrain here. This is an urban terrain. That's why soldiers and policemen need to clear the Marawi City house by house, street by street. So definitely it will take some more time for them to finish the clearing operations here. Right.
Are there still residents there who are stranded? Of course, some residents prefer to remain in their houses. Is the military making sure that they're safe?
Okay. Well, the information that we've got is that there are still some residents staying in their houses. But of course, the request or the call of the military is for them to leave their houses. And if they need rescue, they may contact the local government unit. They set up this crisis management committee, and the local government is, of course, in coordination with barangay officials, with residents. We are in touch with them so that in case that they need to leave their houses, they can send out people to rescue them. Right.
All right. Thank you, George, and stay safe. George Cahiles reporting to us from Marawi City. The Metro Manila Council convenes to discuss the peace and order situation in the National Capital Region. Is Metro Manila still safe? Our Anjo Alimario has this report.
So far, ang situation dito sa Metro Manila is generally peaceful, no? Wala tayong nakukuhang any information whatsoever with regards to any terror attack or any imminent or present danger.
No less than NCRPO Chief Oscar Albayalde assures the public Metro Manila is safe. Albayalde and the Joint Task Force for NCR briefed the Metro Manila Council, composed of all mayors, on the peace and order situation. This security briefing was in the wake of the Marawi City crisis. Albayalde denies a viral post claiming women are planning to stage suicide bombings in different malls.
Actually, it's a recycled disinformation.
He says measures are in place to prevent terror attacks.
We intensified actually yung ating mga checkpoint operations, yung ating pagbabantay sa mga vital installations, yung police visibility natin, especially sa mga places of convergence.
Count in the military in helping secure the metropolis.
We have sent troops sa Quezon City Police District now, just today. Every time may request ang mga district police office natin and the NCRPO, we provide them with augmentation forces.
New MMDA Chairman Danny Lim says everyone should be on guard.
Yung vigilance natin dapat tuloy-tuloy, yung ating mga intel efforts dapat tuloy-tuloy para kung meron man, handa tayo.
Quezon City Mayor Herbert Bautista says the community should also take on the responsibility to maintain safety.
Maging vigilant sila, na maging mapamasid, at kung meron silang nararamdaman o nakikita na hindi kaaya-aya o hindi normal, ipagbigay alam nyo na ho kaagad sa pinakamalapit na otoridad.
He says it's everybody's role to fight terrorism. Anjo Alimario, CNN Philippines.
We have Vice President Leni Robredo's take on martial law in Mindanao. In a statement, she says she supports efforts by the military and police to neutralize rebels in Marawi City and stabilize the situation there. While the power to declare martial law by the president is allowed by the Constitution, Robredo raises several questions. Among them, what does the administration want to achieve before it lifts martial law and reestablish the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus? She also asks if there's reason to expect the expansion of the coverage of martial law. Robredo calls on Congress to review the validity of the declaration and urges the public to remain vigilant. Still ahead, this is the first day of Ramadan. We look at how Muslims celebrate this holy month. And despite the ongoing crisis, we show you the hidden paradise the Islamic city of Marawi has to offer. Back after a quick break, stay with CNN Philippines. No. Good morning again to our viewers. We're live on Facebook right now. This is a special edition of the newsroom because we are getting the latest situation in Marawi City following the outbreak of violence there last Tuesday. Earlier, we were talking to AFP spokesman Restituto Padilla, and he gave us an update on the pursuit operations against the Maute Group. He said they are now after only the remnants of the Maute Group, and he assures they are in control of the city. He said as of latest count, 31 of the militants have been killed. He did say that they are confirming reports that 6 of those killed were foreign militants aiding the Maute terrorists, and 11 were killed from the AFP and 2 from the police, and so far 39 are wounded. Welcome back to the special edition of Newsroom. Filipino Muslims also gather at a mosque in Quiapo, Manila to mark the first day of the holy month of Ramadan. Our Rex Remitio joins us live from there. Rex, what's happening there so far?
We're here outside the Golden Mosque in Quiapo, where Filipino Muslims solemnly pray inside. This is the start of their month of intense prayer, dawn to dusk fasting, and nightly feast. They're also commemorating the first revelation of Quran to Muhammad, the prophet of Islam. This is the start of their month. This is the holiest month of their faith, where they reflect and repent to their sins. They also have their so-called time of prayer from 5 p.m., 12 noon, 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and 8 p.m. This year's Ramadan is even more relevant for them given the crisis that's happening in Marawi City. Some of them that we talk to say they're against what the Maute Group is doing there. They say killing innocent civilians in the name of Allah is not allowed under the Quran. They also admit being a minority group makes them more vulnerable to discrimination by non-Muslims. The Philippines is a predominantly Christian, mostly Catholics. They say the peaceful coexistence between Muslims and non-Muslims should be preserved all the time. Back to you.
Rex, how is the security situation there so far?
We have noticed an increase in police visibility outside the mosque and around the Quiapo area. We have seen special response units from the Manila Police District. They're bearing long firearms. We're actually near the site of the May 6 Quiapo blast that killed 2 and injured 6 people. But so far, businesses are back to life. Even the one beside the blast is now open. Back to you.
Rex Remitio there, reporting to us live from Quiapo, Manila. Presidential spokesperson Ernesto Abella says President Rodrigo Duterte reiterates his call for a peaceful resolution with terrorist groups in the country. In a statement, Abella says the president wants or is open to hold a peaceful dialogue with terrorist groups to avoid bloodshed during this time of prayer and mercy. Malacanang stands with the Muslim community in their observance of the holy month of Ramadan and prays for an end to terrorism and restore and preserve peace in Mindanao. Before we go, ground zero of the ongoing crisis with the Maute Group, Marawi City is also a paradise for many. It's known to be a tranquil place dotted with beautiful mosques. Marawi is even called the summer capital of the South. Our Amelin Veloso tells us more.
Welcome to Marawi.
the heart of Islam in the province of Lanao del Sur. Surrounded by nature's gift Lake Lanao, that legend says was created by angels. Bounded by the cities of Iligan and Cagayan de Oro on the north, and Pagadian and Zamboanga on the east. It was founded in 1907 and named Dansalan, which means a place of destination. A fourth-class city with 96 barangays, it has the largest population among all cities and towns in the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao. With 200,000 people, over 90% of whom are Muslim. The people of Marawi are called Maranaos. They are traditionally fishermen and farmers, but through the years, they've become businessmen, educators, and traders.
Marawi is the center of livelihood, of finance, the banking, and education of all Maranao living in Lanao del Sur, around 41 municipalities. It's the heart and the brain of Lanao del Sur, Marawi City. And not only that, all Maranaos, more than around 1 million Maranaos living outside Marawi City, has a relative family in Marawi City. That's how important.
Marawi is also called the summer capital of the south because of its cool climate. Some of the most beautiful mosques are located there, including the King Faisal Mosque. This is located inside the Mindanao State University, the largest and the flagship campus of the MSU system, known for its Islamic activism.
So it is the Marawi City that gives life, is the backbone, you can say the backbone of the Maranao in terms of education and finance. It's the last refuge for all Maranao, and now it's under, I don't know, military control, we can say, because of the martial law. We do not know what's going to happen next.
Marawi, a city in crisis. And the Maranaos, amid terror and chaos, are standing strong.